Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, o see them yopo.
Mema wakwaba e de ba PENDREAM TV so make sure say obe subscribe to channel no click bell so say the news to our sabit me aka ntem no watie afa so make sure say obe like na wa comment no share ama afoforo so nsaka na comment section ho so no opese wo kire wa adwen obetimi e de wa adwen kire ato honom na amanfo so anya bia kenkan na onim say PENDREAM TV de eye nsem a ekoso Ghana yam politics mu ne de ba na yasaka ya ne de abranti na so me video I saka pese no che na ye de ba nti me mo modern astro so obehwe video we amana si awie na wa kire wa adwen e comment section na se yenko video.
Well, my big brother Dr. Bawumia had been on a campaign trail, and he had said that he championed 33 policies and John Mahama had championed 0. And I felt scandalized.
Why?
Randy, very basic understanding of governance of our country and the development of our budget. The budget, our own budget, is called Economic Policy and Financial Statement. It is not said, it's not mentioned that for fun. That when we debate the budget, we first debate the economic policy, after which we approve in whole. Then we consider the estimates and the appropriation. So there can never be a budget without a policy. So for a vice president, the head of economic management team, who has been in this country where budgets and policies have been approved in parliament, to suggest that the government at that time didn't have a policy is very problematic. And I said, this man doesn't really understand what policy is about. Policy is not English. Policy is documented evidence which is captured in the Hansard of Parliament. And for somebody like that to suggest that a government ran without a policy was very problematic. But maybe, I wanted to remind
maybe he was referring to specific initiatives.
They are in the budget. The fact that you ignorantly didn't read it is not my problem. But for you to suggest that a government could run without policies and be called the head of the economic management team is problematic. Okay? Was there any year we missed the presentation of a budget in Ghana? Was there any year that economic policy was not approved in Parliament? After which we then approved estimates and appropriation. What was driving those estimates and the appropriation? But then I took time to remind him. You see, policies are not made for their sake. Policies are made in such a way that they must mean something to the economy. You develop policy to improve the economy and not to destroy it. So I wanted to remind him of the policies that he had championed, which led to the collapse of the Ghanaian economy. So what is the use of a policy that collapses your economy? What is the use of a policy that leads to you being unable to pay your debts? What is the use of policy that makes you rated out of the capital market? What is the use of policy when all the rating agencies agree that your economy is beyond recognition?
The policies you refer to are not one of the 33 that the vice president refers to.
Or he wants us to now go and be discussing those policies that really don't put anything on our table.
He was specific.
Ghana card.
No, he was specific.
Ghana card. You want to force us to discuss digitalization. When you told us before you came, you played a tape here. When the president was coming, he said you are the champion of the economy. And that you are the one who made sure that Kufuor provided one cedi, $1.
As deputy governor.
As the deputy governor. So you should be telling us what is the exchange rate now. That must be your policy orientation. Where you are now running to this Yahoo angle that you want to force us to, that's not where we know you. You see, you are running away from the job they gave you. You came. I gave an analogy the other day. I said, you see, what he's trying to do now is that you are a science teacher. You say you are the best science teacher. So they made you the headmaster of a science school to develop the next generation of scientists. You requested for 6 very good scientists to add to you, who you call your special assistants. They refer to them as economic advisors in his office. 6. Now they put you together.
You mean the vice president has 6 economic advisors?
Exactly.
Okay.
In his office. He doesn't have one
Okay.
on innovation or digitalization. He doesn't have one. That should tell you the focus of that office. Then you come, teach the science students to pass the science. They keep failing. And when they come to find out, you have been teaching them literature and history. And
Literature and history.
Yeah, you now want us to call that science school a literature and history school. You came and told us you are an economist. As a matter of fact, you don't have the training in anything about innovation and digitalization. Even where you were trained, you asked that they should give you the best economists to work with you. Even where you were trained. Where you were not trained, you didn't ask for anybody. And you went there and failed, but you've brought us to this level where your CD depreciated by 54%. As we speak, your CD is the 3rd or 4th worst performing currency. You are not talking about that. Inflation, you took it all the way to 54%. You are not talking about that.
That has brought it down to 23.
He hasn't brought it down. We haven't.
It's 23 as we speak.
Randy, if they add, what do you call it? You know what we call the base drift effect. When you are moving from 1 to 2, it's faster.
Yes.
So moving from the initial, what do you call it, inflation of say 2 to 54 is faster. When you are moving from 54, it can only grow slower. You've hit your peak. It can only come down. Without even doing anything, it can only come down. You see? So how can you pride yourself? If you want to look at purchasing power parity, you add the 54 to the 23, in 2 years, you have 78% erosion of purchasing power of the city. And you still want to brag? You still want to boast? You want to force us to major in the minor
The
things.
33 he refers to is not what you are talking about.
Randy, he was talking to me, and I'm talking to him. He doesn't decide what I tell him, just like I don't decide what he tells me. He cannot force me to major in the minors.
So take yours and let him take his.
That's what I did. I told him that those his policies are not artifacts. They are not decorative artifacts. They must mean something to the economy. Did they mean anything to the economy? If they meant something to the economy, we will not be where we are. My finance minister has gone away for almost 2 weeks, begging people to forgive us our debts as a result of those policies. And you still...
But are you really, I mean, even speaking about economy, are you really not exaggerating, I mean, the extent of the economy?
Randy, what have I said that is not a fact? Isn't it the case that it will be in record? The record will forever show that Bawumia managed our currency to 54% depreciation. It will forever be the record.
This is not the central bank governor.
Hey. Was John Mahama the central bank governor when he was delivering lectures on how to restore the economy?
He was president.
John Mahama was president. I see. But he told us that he knows better. And Akufo-Addo told us for economy, he doesn't know anything about economy. His own is to speak English. But for the economy, he has the magic one in that man, Dr. Bawumia. But he has a record of stabilizing the cedi at 1 cedi to the dollar. So we bought into it and voted for you to our detriment. When you came, did John Mahama deliver any lecture on how you restore the value of a cedi?
No.
What was Bawumia? Is that not it? Yes. Did John Mahama ever say that if you are in doubt, observe the exchange rate?
No.
And if the fundamentals are weak, you can do all the propaganda you want. But if the exchange rate is, your fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. Who is the exchange rate now exposing? And then you came and said that, yes, I said that, but that is WAP logic. Who propounded the WAP logic? Did anybody ever say that? You said it. And now you are saying that we should unlearn the things you taught us because you have come to realize that you were only doing politics. Randy, the exchange rate of a currency is not entirely a fundamental of the economy issue. It's a liquidity of the currency problem. You can have very good inflation levels. You can have very good growth levels. You can have very good interest rates. And yet, if there are external shocks that affect the flow of the foreign currency in your country, you will begin to have a depreciation of your currency. It has nothing to do with your fundamentals.
So you agree with him?
No, but he said that it must be the fundamentals.
Oh, that was when he was outside.
So your knowledge of economics shifts depending on where you are standing.
Oh, you know,
a PhD holder must make statements that he can stand by every time because you are a guru of research. And you don't make statements that you cannot stand by just the next day. And you were very categorical. And students of economics were watching you. They probably have gone to write that for their lecturers and failed because of you. And so I needed him to understand that we don't develop policies and hang them on our neck. We develop them to improve the economy. What did your policies, 33 policies, do to the economy? This is where it took us. Today we are discussing how we are struggling to even pay WAEC to conduct exams. Is that not the case?